Ooh, all right. What up, everyone? It's Tuesday, special episode NFL Fantasy Today show. It's your host, John Sales, and I got my guy, Brian Shade here, the projection, the calculator, the model man, some other stupid nicknames we'll invent. It's week 4. We just had a crazy week 3, so we are going to be breaking down everything that happened. We'll project a little forward, answering some questions, hopefully, and just talking football. So, Brian, what is shaking? Congrats.
Thank you. I was very nervous the whole Eagles game. I thought they were losing and unfortunately did not get to watch the win. But it was fun to watch on my phone while the Maryland area did not show that game. It's nice to have a passing game again. That's for sure.
Yeah, so Hurts, I think again had like 20 yards at half, but then they were down 3 scores, so they aired it out. I think AJ, Goddard, and Devontae all scored.
Yep.
So, but the problem is I don't know what their schedule is going forward. I think they play Tampa this week. That could be a shootout. How many times is that going to happen? And then also, what about Saquon? He's averaging like 3.6 yards per carry, something terrible like that.
Yeah, I feel like Saquon I'm not too worried about. His last season was kind of made on big plays. So, yeah, he'd keep pounding out 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, and then go for 70. So that's just kind of the runner he is. Hopefully those big plays come. I'm not really selling on him or buying him. I just think he's very much a hold. The rest of that offense, it does look like they only really will pass if they need to.
Which is crazy, but
yeah, it's crazy. It's annoying for fantasy, but you can expect maybe in games where they're favored by a lot that it might be a very boring passing game and they're just going to run it out and do what they need to win. And in games like maybe next week against Tampa, where Tampa can score on the Eagles defense, then you go, okay, I feel comfortable starting my Eagles pass catchers. I mean, you drafted AJ Brown high enough, you're probably going to start him either way, but it's like the Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert options that you're potentially going to start more.
Do you think they'll pivot at all based on just week to week strategy? So they're playing the Bucks. Remember the Bucks a couple years ago when they kind of had Brady and you just couldn't run on them? I remember they played the Bills game. I won like $5,000 on, and I think Buffalo they threw 30 plays in the first half. They threw 27 of them, right? So Tampa again, right? They're right now they're tops in the league in defensive EPA per against the run. So it wouldn't really make that much sense to just be pounding Barkley into the line 20, 30 times if he's going to get 2 yards when the passing game works.
Yeah, and I think Vita Vea everyone hates the tush push, and Vita Vea is probably the best player at stopping that by himself, just because he's such a big guy in the middle. So you could look at there potentially being more passing touchdowns the next game as well, just because it's going to be harder to get that 1 yard through on the ground like they've been getting. You drafted your Eagles high. They're still a good team, and they're winning.
They're a great team.
Yeah, I would still play them. I'm not excited about it one way or the other, if that makes sense.
Let's still match, but let's say they're playing Carolina. I don't know the schedule. Say they're playing Carolina in 2 weeks, and Carolina is bad against the run, pretty good against the pass so far. They just shut out Atlanta. Would you bench AJ Brown? Let's say you had Ibuka or AJ Brown, and Tampa was in a nice matchup. Say they're playing the Pats or something.
I mean, if everyone else I have is also better than Ibuka, then potentially, yeah. I don't. AJ Brown, he's one of those players where you drafted so high that even if you bench him and you're going to feel crappy if he goes off. It's hard to kind of take a sunk cost fallacy on someone you spent that much on. But the best managers can do it. In a season long league, it's very hard to do.
Yeah, but maybe you go week to week, and maybe if you got a deep bench. I'm not saying do a bench for Cedric Tillman, but if you got a deep wide receiver, because that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. Because there's a lot of injuries and a lot of guys popping up. Let's bring up last night's game, right? You watched that game, Ravens, Detroit. It was kind of a banger.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's most of it. David Montgomery, Gibbs out carried Montgomery something like 22-11. But Montgomery yards per carry was like 12 to 3 and change, right? So It was just, crazy. So Baltimore, like, is their defense now bad? Like, how's your model going to do that? Because they started terrible last year, finished as maybe the best defense in the league, and right now they're terrible, right? If I bring up their defensive EPA stuff, they're near the bottom against the run. Not that great against the pass. What are we doing? Let's see who Baltimore's playing next week, and then how are we going to adjust?
I mean, I think Baltimore in general just is going to put up points just because they have Lamar and that offense is great. Like,
Chiefs.
Yeah, they're just a team that I'm not really thinking about. If my best players are playing against Baltimore, I'm not thinking it's a great matchup. I'm not thinking it's a poor matchup. Either way, I think just history past few weeks would say, oh, maybe this is a good matchup. That team has so many talented defenders, and they do have a history of getting better as the season goes on. So that's just a defense where I'm going to just not think about it. If I'm going to look at kind of just player against player and not really look at matchups as much, because I think it's kind of a very middle matchup at the moment, and I need a little bit more data just because of their history of getting better. If they continue to be poor for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to see it as a good option to start against, but it's one of those I just don't want to get stuck on thinking it's a great matchup. I start somebody who's not the best, and then I get
like Pacheco, right?
Yeah.
That's just lining up to start Pacheco next week, but I don't know if it'll be maybe Baltimore revenge game. Okay, what about Derrick Henry, other side of the ball, right? He had about 50 yards. He had that one nice touchdown run where he wasn't touched, and he fumbled again. They're obviously not going to bench him, but he's had 2 bad games, 1 good game. Is he maybe showing his age a bit? Would you trade for, or would you trade Henry if you had to pick one?
I think I'd trade for after that. I mean, it depends how badly someone feels after that game. Like, this is kind of what Derrick Henry does. He doesn't do much in the passing, so he's going to have amazing games where he runs for 150 and scores 2 touchdowns, and then he's going to have games where he's 15 carries for 45 yards. It's just kind of like that's how he's always been, and you're going to get more great weeks than you will dud weeks, but he's almost like a big play receiver in the running back build where you're not going to get, like, you're almost counting on big touchdowns and stuff like that, but he's also done it so long that I would buy him low if the team who has him is super scared off by that, but I'm not, like, I wouldn't spend more than a wide receiver 2 maybe to get him. Like, I'm not going super crazy against him. I mean, maybe
that's
like a wide receiver.
That's pretty crazy. Not a wide receiver. I took him 7th overall in a 1 QB high stakes league.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to buy him low. If if the owner still views him as a running back 1, then no, we're not going to agree.
So if you had AJ Brown, would you trade AJ Brown for Henry?
Yeah, because I think running backs are harder to come by.
Okay. Well, we got a question here. Let's just jump in here. Big rice ball, yo, trying to patch up my team. Had Jaden Daniels. Okay, and CD injured this week. Daniels should be back. Has some extra running backs and trying to grab a wide receiver. Thoughts on this trade? Etienne for Tet. Okay, well, this is kind of a running back for wide receiver. What do you think here? Jacksonville's been running the ball really effectively. Tootin looks good, but Carolina just put up 30, but Bryce didn't do that much, and he's obviously going to be trick or treat. But Leggett's out, and Ted is a clear wide receiver 1. Where are you on this? He's got extra running backs.
I like it. I think Tet's a buy low. And I also think one thing that might help Tet is Jalen Coker might be coming back, maybe not this week, but the following. And I think that could open up stuff. Jalen Coker's kind of your slot guy. And if you can get somebody who is just somebody to even look at, someone else to just throw the ball to on that team, it could help kind of free some stuff up on the outside for Tet. I just think it'll help the offense as a whole, getting another option there. Etienne's looked great. I somewhat feel like you also have Coker, yeah. So
nice. So
I mean, I don't know if I double up on Panthers starting, but it is kind of good to have if one gets hurt. Etienne, I don't know how much I trust it, and I do think Tootin will slowly, if not take over the whole role, but just slowly kind of take more and more on. So I think Etienne will still be startable, at least in a flex position all season long, given what he's done so far. But I don't know if I'm the upside that I think Tet could give you later on in the season. I like, especially if you already have running backs to start.
Yeah, and kind of the whole point of investing in Carolina was their defense was supposed to be bad, so they'd be in shootouts, they'd be playing catch up, throwing the ball, and then they go shut out the Falcons. So it's like we don't really know what Carolina is right now. I guess we know Atlanta's bad, but
yeah.
Okay, let's go a couple other games that piqued our interest here. So we had the Dallas Bears game, right? Two terrible defenses. The Cowboys might be the worst defense. They might be Carolina from last year, one of the worst defenses in recent memory. But CeeDee Lamb gets out. Where do you elevate Pickens? And then do you elevate anyone else, or do you elevate like Ferguson on the Dallas side?
I think that was another game I was kind of tracking at the end of the second slate of games. Ferguson had like 13 receptions. So once CD went out, it's almost like Ferguson became like the target hog, and then Pickens got a few more targets than he normally would, but he's still kind of the big play threat on the outside, and I feel like he's going to stay that. It almost looked like Ferguson became the target hog there. And I mean, if he had a touchdown and he was on the waivers, he might be the number one pickup after this week. It's just he had 13 catches for 80-something yards, so it wasn't a crazy week, but that type of volume, especially at a tight end position, that's absurd, and I think he's an auto start when CD's out.
Yeah, for sure. And then we know Dallas is still going to want to throw the ball, and they're going to have to because they're going to be down every game because they suck. Okay, Spartan Sam, I'm going to get to you in a second. What with Lamb though? He's just he's top 3 wide receiver. You could say he's the best, whatever. How much do you downgrade Dak? Right, like because I'm starting Dak in some 1 QB leagues. Would you start Dak next week? Because that's 100 yards and a touchdown gone every game. Or is the defense bad enough that Dak you think will still kind of get it done?
I mean, I think he's going to be forced to throw it a bunch. It's just they play Packers next week. Like that's, in my opinion, maybe the top defense so far.
Yeah.
So it's just all right. What do we do there? I just think he's going to have the volume every week. My guess is you don't have another QB to start over Dak.
I got Bryce Young playing the Pats. Pats defense is pretty terrible. He scored a rushing touchdown. That's
closer than I want to admit. I mean, I would definitely trust Dak, but I think Bryce has a higher upside just because. Like, I think you can get 15 points out of Dak just because of the volume. The issue will be if he just has to keep throwing, and then a few picks kind of bring down his line.
But he only just put up 14 points against the Bears, and the Bears have a terrible secondary. Now he's going to be like, sometimes you think that, that garbage time, they're going to be down 37 at half, whatever, and he's throwing, but he still finishes 18 of 42 for 160 yards, right? And it's just.
I mean, yeah, he was taken out of that at the end of last game. Joe Milton stepped in for the last. I mean, just the game was over, so might as well not get him hurt. That is, I mean, if you think it's going to be a blowout, then that's something to take into account. I feel like it's a pretty important game for the Cowboys for the season. Yeah, it's only week 4, but you gotta start beating somebody good, or it's just what are you doing moving forward?
Well, they're not beating the Packers without Lamb. Okay, Spartan Sam, hello. Nice. Okay. Would you trade Evans for Genty? Mike Evans, who's on, he's on the IR, or is he short-term IR, 4 games?
I mean, I know he has a hammy injury. I don't know if it's confirmed he's on the IR yet, but I know
he's missing 3 to 4. Evans is past the age cliff. I would trade Evans if I could get Genty. I mean, he's getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. The O-line looks shit. He didn't even have a target this week, which sucks. But you have to think, the Raiders do want a little balance. They drafted him 6 overall. He is going to get more involved. Chip Kelly is a good OC. It's just ugly so far. And we've seen that with rookie running backs. They start slow. They always start slow. You look at this week, we got a couple in the top 10, right? We got Marion Hampton and Quinshon Judkins, and they both finished the top 10 running backs. So I think that's a smash trade.
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
Nothing more to add.
All right, well, here, this one's easy. Okay, what is Godwin's trade value? It's kind of a, co-tied.
I in a bunch of my leagues, I don't know if anyone's just trading a 1-for-1 for Godwin. I think Godwin's trade value comes in as I'm trying to package some players up for like a buy low, whether it's like a AJ Brown where I'm trying to buy low there. It's like I'm selling high on somebody. I don't know, maybe it's like an Etienne and Godwin for an AJ Brown. That type of trade where it's like he's almost more of a throw-in because no one really knows what he is. And on the other end, it's like, oh, this might be great, this might not be. If I'm really going to value him somewhere, I'd say it's like 25 to 30 range as like wide receiver 25 to 30 is where I'd want to value him in a trade. I don't know if he's going to get there, but that's like a mix of upside and floor that I'd be comfortable kind of giving up that value.
Yeah, it's tough because he's 29. He was a wide receiver 2 in fantasy points per game last season, which was insane. But he's had 2-3 major injuries. He can't really stay healthy. But now with Mike Evans out, he's going to play week 4. I think a lot of it might depend on where you are. If you need, like, maybe he's not going to last the season, but over the next 3 weeks with Mike Evans out, he could be a top 10 wide receiver if he's kind of healthy, right? Baker is going to air it out. But the problem is him and Ibuka both do similar roles. So I don't know who's got to pivot. Maybe Ibuka goes more to the X receiver. But I really like Godwin. I don't know if I wouldn't start this week against Philly, but I think in week 5, assuming it's not a bye, he could have a smash spot. I think he's got a high ceiling, probably not much of a floor, and probably you might get 5 elite games out of him. But so if I was 3-0, I would 100% be trading for Godwin. If I was 0-3, I might also be trading for Godwin because I'm desperate and I need to take a lottery ticket. So maybe if I was in that middle spot, maybe I'd try and get him for someone a little more stable.
Yeah, he's kind of an upside play at this point. Like if you're a middle of the pack team, I agree. It's just I'm trying to kind of slowly get up there. But if you need a big boost or you're trying to kind of take some swings because your team already has a bunch of upside, then he's a good guy to get.
Well, we'll play a little game. So what if let's do some rookie running backs versus Godwin, see where you think they're valued. So Travion Henderson. If you had Travion Henderson, would you trade him to get Godwin?
No. I don't really know if I trade any of like the main guys like Judkins.
RJ Harvey?
Yeah, I don't trust him. So I'd probably do that.
Okay.
I mean, that's if I'm low on running back, high on receiver. I feel like this point in the season is when we start to realize, oh, wait, wide receiver position, super deep. I can get people I can start every week. Running back position, you're struggling to sometimes find that second or third starter. So I do kind of feel like running backs get a little bit more value, or running backs with a role get a little bit more value as the season goes on.
Okay, so we were going to talk about backup running backs. We can pivot to there a bit. So this is Trey Benson. Where do you put his value right now, right? Because James Conner's out. Arizona's got a decent O-line. They love to run the ball. Kyler running QB is nice. Kyler can't really throw. Defense has been pretty good. Trey Benson, where do you have him?
I would get him in like the running back 10 to 15 overall range.
Wow, really?
I mean, James Conner, every time I do projections, is always projected high for season long just because they give him so much work. They don't really have that much competition for Benson. I mean, Amari DeMarcado is supposed to be the number 2, and he's very meh. Like, I just think he's going to get a lot of work, and that work is very hard to come by.
So, okay, Quinton Judkins, who just had a nice game against the Packers. He's had 2 good games against 2 really good defenses, although one was a Raven, so maybe they're not a good defense. Would you have Trey Benson or Quinton Judkins?
Trey Benson.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I'd have Judkins, I think. Okay.
I trust that offense a little more in Arizona.
Okay, I mean, Omarion Hampton or Trey Benson?
I mean, now that Najee's out, Hampton.
Okay.
If Najee was still playing, maybe Benson.
Wow, so you got Benson really high.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be I'm not saying like Chase Brown level, but he's going to have that workload from last season where it's like you don't know about the talent yet, but he has so much workload that it almost doesn't matter.
Okay, so they're playing the Seahawks, who have been pretty good versus the run so far. Okay, so we got a couple other questions here. So what if I package DJ Moore and Etienne? How high can I aim? I already tried for Puka. Good job. Yeah, you're not getting Puka for that. The problem is DJ Moore is you're doing a sell high and a buy low together, right? Etienne's overvalued, DJ Moore's undervalued. I think Caleb is a QB3 right now. Right, their secondary is tough.
Yeah.
They're not really running the ball. I think DJ Moore has more value in the future than he does right now. So maybe the guy, will see that too. But a lot of people, if they're trading for somebody, they see what they've done. If you're trading, you look at the expectations the other way. So Puka is a great way to dream. Let's go a little lower. Let's would you try and go Drake London? I think that would be nice.
I would rather what I have there. I don't trust Drake. That offense scares me.
Ricky Pearsall.
I would keep what I have there.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I want to go high. I mean, Etienne's like a top 10 running back right now. DJ Moore is on a quote unquote good offense just because their offense looks so good after one game. But
okay, what about CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, if you're a 3-0 team, then I would do that.
Yeah. Well, okay.
And I think I'm trying to think of if you could get JSN, I would hammer that. I'm super high on JSN. If you could get,
this is a JSN podcast.
I like the idea of trying to get a running back with that. Trying to get a safer running back with a higher floor. Like if you could try to get, would you do that for Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I mean, if I had his team, because he's got extra running backs. But yeah, I would do it for Derrick Henry because I just love Derrick Henry, and I mean, I don't think he got old, but something's up. But I think the Ravens this is kind of the Ravens do. They start weird, and then they fucking become an absolute, a monster. Okay, so thoughts using number one priority on Fields. Dak currently is on Justin Fields. There's not another Fields, is there?
No, are they starting him?
I think they said they're going to start you. You can't lose your job for a starter. Quick schedule check. Jets are playing. I think it was a nice matchup too, right? Yeah, Miami. So that's a smash start for Fields. I'd see what your record is. I probably wouldn't use number one. I mean, if it's a 12-team league, 1 QB, Fields might stay on the wire, right?
Yeah, I did see something about Aaron Glenn was not going to commit to a starter so far, so that's the only part I worry about. If Fields starts, he's normally a pretty good option.
Yeah, it's a big play bonus league. So we're assuming it's 1 QB league. If it's a super flex, obviously Fields, but I can't imagine Fields would get dropped with a concussion. So it's got to be a 1 QB league. I like the idea of replacing Dak with Fields, especially for this week. But number one waiver priority seems like a lot, considering sometimes. Like if Trey Benson was on the wire, if you got a free Benson, that changes your entire team, right? And there's a lot of future Trey Bensons. So let's talk about that quickly. You wanted to some future, right? Ray Davis was one, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the number one guy I have is
number
Ray
one.
Davis.
Rico Dowdle?
That offense isn't that good.
True.
I want a good offense. I'm not saying Arizona's a great offense, but they can put up points. Yeah. Kyler Murray's serviceable. And then I think
Brian Robinson Jr.?
Yeah, he's the next one. I mean, if you're I think Rachaad White, if Bucky goes down, that could be a pretty slam play.
Ooh, Nino says DJ Gideon's on Indy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's solid. Tyler Goodson's the other guy. I just worry they might split. Previously, when Taylor's been out, they tend to split.
Keaton Mitchell? Right? If Derrick Henry goes down, or you think it'd be Justice Hill? I think they had a 50%, 50-50 snap share last night.
I mean, beginning of the season, Keaton Mitchell was a healthy scratch.
Yeah, he was last night too.
So that's what I worry about with Keaton. So I wouldn't go that far. I do think Will Shipley's still the guy for Philly if Saquon goes down. They have AJ Dillon. It doesn't really look like they trust him in pass pro or something. They traded for Bigsby, and he hasn't even played on offense yet. So
Packers don't really have a backup. Marshawn Lloyd, I know we liked last year, but he gets hurt every week with some weird injury.
Yeah, I was looking at the other guys. I mean, it's really deep, but Brashard Smith on Kansas City, none of their running backs are doing anything fun. So he could be a Pacheco and Hunt are super boring. Maybe one of them goes down, and then it's all right, we have to throw in Brashard Smith, and then you see, oh wow, I like this burst that he has. He's a super deep play.
RJ Harvey's got to be the number one because we know Dobbins isn't going to stay healthy. He's never stayed healthy. He's looked great for 3 games.
Yeah, I just don't think he's available. I mean, if he's available, I'd add him for sure.
Oh, true. We're talking wire. Okay. So Nina says also trade question, which side? Neighbors and Benson. Okay. Jamar. So Jamar Chase Travion. Feel a little worried about Dart. Dart had the second highest, I think, QB rating in the preseason, but we've seen preseason doesn't really matter that much. This is, I don't know. I mean, are you more worried about Neighbors and Dart or Jamar and Jake Browning? This is a great trade.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a close one. I still love the idea of Travion. He just hasn't like done anything yet.
But we had three fumbles from the New England running backs, right?
Yeah.
Vrabel doesn't like that. I want Neighbors Benson. I'd take the mystery box and Dart over the shit box that is Jake Browning.
He had one bad game. Like he did well previously in relief. I agree it looked terrible, but like Bengals are also like their ownership's pretty cheap and they spent a good amount of money to try to win this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they get desperate and try to trade for a Kirk Cousins or a Jameis Winston, just somebody else who can run the offense. So I think I'd slightly lean the Jamar Travion, but that's a really close trade, and trades that are that close, I'm almost like hesitant to do just because I don't want to lose it.
Yeah. But so what's the big like seesaw? Like you have Benson way over Travion, right?
Yeah, and I think I still have Jamar above Neighbors.
So he said he's a CMC owner. I could also give up the Bus Pacheco for B-Rob handcuff. I mean, I would 100% try and get the B-Rob handcuff. I mean, CMC's usage has been crazy.
Yeah, I had Pacheco in my solo. I don't think there's much there. Kareem Hunt still gets play. Yeah, there'll be a week where Pacheco has 70 yards and a touchdown and you feel a little annoyed you traded him away, but he's never going to be I don't think he'll ever be like a week winning asset that he puts up 25 to 30 points. And I just think at the moment he still has some value. And if you can cash out on that, like B-Rob and maybe like a Matthew Golden, some type of receiver like that where he has some upside and he's still probably a bench player at the moment. But if you can get a little bit more for Pacheco, I think that'd be a solid bet to do right now.
Okay, I got a fun game for me. Hopefully it is for you. I got some stats here. So which running backs do you think are getting 50% of their yards, 50 or more percent from just receiving?
Yards from receiving?
Yeah, versus rushing.
I mean, Justice Hill probably.
Yeah, but it's big names.
Bijan.
Yeah. Bijan's getting 60% receiving, 40 rushing.
Is CMC up there too?
75 from receiving.
Yeah, I mean that's fantasy gold is the receiving. You want your running back to be involved in both.
Some other big notables, Devon Shane getting 75% from receiving.
That tracks too.
Bucky is 63-37, 63 receiving. Isn't that right? That seems kind of nuts.
That's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker is at 81-19 because he really broke out in the receiving last year. So it seems that Darnold's not really checking down.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild to me.
Breece Hall's at 50-50.
Jaylen Warren's up there.
Sorry, who?
Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren's a great. Yeah, Warren's at 70% receiving.
I think I have him in 90% of my leagues.
Oh, nice. Okay. So what's a good number? What would you want from your running back? Would you want 50-50? Like assume it's PPR because I know your favorite thing is the reception for 1 yard. It's the same as an 11-yard run.
I think I want my running backs to have over 30% rush share on the team and over a 10% target share. I think if you have that, you're a startable running back.
Okay. But for the running back, what do you want his rushing receiving breakdown to be, right? Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the league, and he's at essentially 70-30. Like that seems like a nice mix.
Yeah, yardage wise, I almost don't care about the yardage just because at this point in the season, there's going to be, I don't know, I had one breakout run for 80 yards. That's going to kind of throw off all my yardage. Or I busted a screen for super long. Like I'm going I'm more worried about kind of volume at this point. Is if the team's giving you the ball at the beginning of the season and you're performing, they're going to continue giving you the ball. I think a big person to look at is Javonte Williams. He had kind of a down game last week.
He just didn't score.
He didn't score, and he fumbled the ball. He got ripped away in an embarrassing way. But, like, that type of fumble just doesn't happen all the time. Sorry. But I think he's the type of person who they just keep giving the ball to, and the competition, quote unquote, is Miles Sanders, who's kind of done nothing, and then Jadon Blue's sometimes been a healthy scratch. Like, he hasn't really proven he's going to do much. Yeah, he's a rookie. Maybe it'll get better, but like that volume that he has is so high. Whether he's a buy high, a buy low, I don't know. He's just a buy for me.
Okay, so I got some of the snap percentage in front of me. So yeah, Javonte's at 61%. He's getting 10 carries a game, 5 targets. That's not bad. It's because Dallas has been down. They're not really running the ball that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want that snap percentage to be? Because, like, do you know what Saquon's at? Obviously, you don't know, but take it.
80, 90 maybe.
94%, right? That's probably too high. You probably don't want that, right?
I almost don't care. Also, like, snap percentage, yeah, it's good to be on the field, but like there are some players that kind of have lower snap percentage, but just whenever they're in, the ball goes to them.
Okay.
So it's more like usage percentage of like, what is it? Targets per route run. I think that's for receivers, that's a pretty good thing to look at because it's a good way to kind of see if I think a player is going to break out later in the season. Because say you have a rookie receiver who's super high in targets per route run, but their snap percentage is like 20%. That kind of shows me, all right, when he runs a route, the QB likes what he does. He gets separation, he gets open. Maybe he hasn't just learned the playbook yet. So as he grows in just learning and getting used to the NFL game, he's going to continue getting more snaps, and then that leads to more production down the line.
Okay. So is there a stat, like, I'm just because I have the snap percentage in front of me, I'll just bring it back to there. Is somebody, if they had a high snap percentage but maybe a low usage, do you think maybe that would be a good kind of delta that might go up because, it's just been bad luck or something?
Yeah, that would be like a sell high candidate for me, is if they're always on the field, they're not doing that much, but it's almost like, what can I bring to the person I'm trying to trade to? Like, oh, look, I don't know a name off the top of my head.
Tony Pollard's got a 91% snap percentage.
Yeah, like, oh, look, Tony Pollard, he's always on the field. Titans can't be that bad. Like, he's going to continue getting this work. I mean, I do think he gets a lot of work and it's like very safe, but I think you can almost pitch there to be more upside than he has right now. And then you can trade that off. And you just say, hey, I'm looking for, in that situation, it'd be like, I'd try to target a wide receiver, because if you're trading him for another running back, it's like, all right, and I'd like to think, like, what is this guy trying to get over with me? I think it's easier to talk to somebody, say, hey, I need receivers. You seem to need running backs. I can maybe get a more high upside receiver by trading Tony Pollard. And both teams, quote unquote, get better. So that's my whole thing with trades, is I don't really try to win every trade, because I feel like people, after maybe 1 or 2 times of you getting them, they stop doing that. And if you try to make every team better. Yeah, if you try to make both teams better, they're not going to really argue with the logic. Maybe somebody gets hurt. It's like, there's nothing you can do about that. But you can come back to them later, especially in leagues that like you do kind of every year where it's the same group of people.
But even when it's a trade, you're not trying to destroy the guy. You still want to win. Like, there's just sneaky ways. Like if a player is being more involved in the passing game, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at here the targets per game. Do you know who's third or tied for second in targets per game for a running back? It's not a name you think. CMC's first with 15. And then A-Chain's tied with another guy for 9. Is a good running back that you would not suspect.
It's not Gibbs, is it?
No. That would be someone you kind of suspect. He's only at 6. Maybe the best defense in the league.
Is it Jacobs?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I do think Jacobs is a buy low. Like, he just hasn't scored much.
Well, he scored, I think, the first 2. He scored in 10 straight. He just didn't score in week 3.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, But he only has 6 receptions, right?
Is that okay? I just have targets in front of me.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jacobs should be seen as like a top 5 to 10 running back, and he's not there at the moment. So that is a solid person to go after.
Okay. Yeah, he just could be getting older. He had a great high usage year. What are these? I'm looking at these backup running back snap percentages. Is there a high one? Like Woody Marks is at 49%. That seems pretty shocking to me.
I like the idea of getting him on my roster. I'm like, he's a waiver priority for me this week if hasn't been picked up previously, because Nick Chubb seems to have that like early down back role in hand, and Woody Marks seems to be taking over a lot more of the passing down, and you get more receptions that way. And I think he's kind of shown he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and that is a guy who he's almost like a safe flex play or a good fill-in on bye weeks that I feel comfortable putting in the lineup, just because I know he's at least going to get a few targets and he won't give me a bust week.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, come over to YouTube, because that way you can drop a comment, ask a question. Make sure you also like and subscribe. It's a lot better over on YouTube than Twitter, so definitely switch over and then be a part of the action, because we got a question here from Cosmic. I've got Jettas, Cook, trade them for Scadaboo, Neighbors, and JMO. So this is something we wanted to talk about, like the trickle-down effect of these backup QBs, right? Carson Wentz played well, but that game was over in 2 seconds. Justin Jefferson still has his best game. James Cook is a top 2, top 3 running back right now. Scadaboo looks awesome. Neighbors. So I don't know. Do you want to invest that hard in the Giants to get Scadaboo and Neighbors?
No, I think you're trading away the 2 best players.
Yeah, you can make Neighbors. Yeah, okay. Neighbors Cook is probably Cook. Buffalo's best team. They love to run the ball. They're going to play for head, run the ball. So
yeah, and you're buying.
Situation.
I like the idea of Scadaboo. I just feel like you're buying super high on him.
He was high up on the target list too, but yeah, I don't think I would do that either. But yeah, okay. I want to do one more little game here. So I got quarterback, the percentage of yards you're getting from the running or passing, right? So who do you think's got the highest, gets the most from the rushing?
I want to say Hurts is up there.
Yeah. Justin Fields is at 61%. But Hurts might be higher actually. Let me find him. No, he's at 47.53.
Yeah, I mean that tracks just because he actually threw the ball last week. Pat Mahomes is probably surprisingly higher than people think.
61.40. Yeah. So where would you want your guy to be? Because we all want running QBs, but we probably don't want that like crazy Fields number. We got like Tyrod Taylor. I'll take you doesn't count. JJ McCarthy now. Michael Penix is 75.25. Maybe it's fantasy points. Mariota 55. Mahomes, like, is that 60-40? Nice. Daniel Jones 66-34. That's probably the sweet spot, right?
I mean, Daniel Jones is a stud at the moment. Indiana Jones over there, but yeah,
it's percentage of fantasy points, not yards. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, I want if I can get like 25 to 30 yards out of my QB every week with like a 25% chance of a rushing touchdown, that's solid. That's about an extra 5 points a week just from rushing. So I think that's kind of the more way I like to look at it, is I want somebody who is a threat, and especially around the goal line, and a team that's not afraid to let him scramble and run for those, whether it's a sneak in a push or whether it's just, hey, I don't mind doing a read option. Sorry, my dog's going nuts right now.
Oh yeah, mine's barking at the door. Oh, what up? Oh, pay-per-view. So how much? So we got 3 games in. How much are we weighing now? Kind of the defensive metrics. So when we're looking at matchups, like the Vikings, I think are the best team EPA against the pass, which nobody really thought. I especially didn't, because their secondary is no name, and they were great against the run. Were leaky versus the pass last season. Vikings are playing. Oh, why does this always take me too long? Is this so?
I mean, I noticed Vikings are one team where it's like I am cautious on them. They played Chicago with Caleb.
Yeah.
They played Atlanta, who might stink, and then they played Cincinnati without Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but that's 3 passing teams with 2 of the best wide receivers in the league, and Rome Odunze, so 3 of the best. Like,
those are just teams that I'm like, the quarterback play there kind of scares me a little. If you're playing it does prove to me if it's an average to poor team, then yes, I'm
so they're playing
worried
Pittsburgh. Are you playing DK Metcalf next week?
I mean, I would definitely downgrade him. Like, I'm not going to downgrade Jalen Warren, but I would downgrade DK for sure.
Okay. What about some of these rookie, right? Like Quinton Judkins. So I got a team. I'm in first place. It's roto 4 weeks and then head to head. It's high stakes. I went Gibbs, Bucky. I went Kittle, but then I got James Cook in the fourth. So I have 3 of the best running backs in the league, but I have Quinton Judkins. Would you bump Judkins in there if the matchup was juicy? This week it's not because Cleveland's playing a really good defense. Cleveland's playing Detroit, so I don't want to run on that.
I don't know how much I trust the Judkins stuff, and there's going to be some. I do worry about Cleveland just like their offense falling apart altogether. Joe Burrow hasn't looked great, but I do think he's going to be better than Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur when they get a chance. So
Joe Flacco? Did you say Burrow?
Yeah, sorry, Joe Flacco. Elite Joe Flacco. I think he's just better. He's a better QB. He can help run the offense better, and I think that's important at the moment. I just worry about that whole Cleveland offense.
But the defense looks great, though, right? So they're going to hang around in games.
They will be in games, but I do feel like it'll be in games where they have to pass it more. So I haven't really dug in super into Judkins' passing work. I know he's not an option, but I don't know if he's like an elite option in the pass game. I know Dylan Sampson was pretty highly targeted in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I just worry about how much are they going to be able to run, like, especially if they get in a backup QB who turns the ball over a little bit more. It's just like you might be down early and then forced to pass. So that team I'm trying to avoid. I agree he looks pretty good in the past 2 weeks. I just can't convince myself to, especially over the 3 running backs you mentioned. Like, I don't know if I can start him over that.
Not even like, okay, Patriots, he always got a question. All right, give us a question. So not even if Cleveland was playing the Cowboys, who are essentially one of the worst rush EPAs, and then Gibbs, or let's say Bucky, and then Tampa was playing Philly, which Tampa is playing Philly, you wouldn't start Judkins over Bucky?
No, because I know Bucky always has a role. I know Judkins, if something happens, they could take him out, and it's Dylan Sampson in the passing game. Bucky has a season's worth of data that we can see. Win or lose, he's still going to play. He's even gotten better in the passing work. Like,
great in the passing work, yeah.
Yeah, Bucky's just a better player at the moment.
Okay. So how would you rank those 3 just going into this week, right? So we've got Tampa's playing Philly. That's a bad matchup for Bucky. Buffalo's playing Saints. That's an ideal matchup for Cook, except that game might be over at half and they're playing Ray Davis. And then we've got Cleveland, Detroit. Cleveland's got one of the best defenses in the league. And we just saw David Montgomery go wild.
So you're saying between Gibbs, Bucky, and Judkins?
No, Gibbs, Bucky, and James Cook.
Oh, I'm going Cook, Bucky, Gibbs, probably.
Okay. All right. Patriots Proud's got a question here. Should I trade Ladd for Jordan Mason, Michael Pittman? Well, this was a Jordan Mason podcast all summer. I tried to tell you guys Aaron Jones was washed. He was going down, and it happened even earlier than I thought. And Jordan Mason was amazing. He scored 2 touchdowns. It was Cincy. They suck. What do we do with Ladd? So the Chargers are passing more than ever. Herbert's an MVP candidate, but Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson are awesome. Ladd's essentially the wide receiver 3 right now, even though he won't be. So is it selling low on Ladd? You're buying high on Mason and Pittman? Do you like that diversification, or do you think maybe Keenan's old, he'll get hurt, and then Ladd will reassert himself?
I don't know if you're definitely selling low, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I don't hate the trade. I do like Jordan Mason. I feel like you could potentially counter and see if you can get a slightly better receiver than Pittman. I mean, yeah, Pittman's been doing a good amount, and it's not a terrible trade. It's just.
Would it matter what record you are? Like, let's say if you're 0-3, you probably do it because you get that immediate infusion because Mason and Pittman are probably going to be better than Ladd next week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do think if I was lower in the standings, I think I would do it. I just worry that you're selling low, and I think you could potentially get more later on if you can just hold him.
Yeah, because like Ladd is great. We know Ladd's great, but Herbert's actually slinging the ball, so it's a great situation. But like Keenan Allen's 32, he's not going to hold up, right? He's looked great. Quentin Johnson is probably going to get back to dropsies, although he looks good. All right, he's 2-1, and I'd be Ladd's not playing bad. They're throwing for 300 yards. It's just you're spreading the ball around. Last year he was the only guy because Johnson kept dropping the ball, and Josh Palmer wasn't very good. So Ladd is the wide receiver one there, and it won't last. But I don't hate that trade. But you're 2-1. I don't know. Getting Jordan Mason just sounds so appealing to me. He's just such a monster. And Michael Pittman could be better than Ladd for the next 3 weeks, right? And Derek is Indy's playing really well, so really maybe you're getting a free Jordan Mason. I don't hate it, but it depends how many teams in your league, right? Because if you have to drop a good player. Or how deep the benches are, right? If it's deep benches, I love getting deeper.
I would counter if he just sent that offer. I would counter and see if you could get a better receiver for it. Like Ladd still has a pretty darn good target share. Yes, Keenan and Quentin are slightly, or Huge, whatever you want to call them, they're slightly higher. I don't trust that Huge is going to be the guy. I think he's connected on some deep balls, and that's definitely increasing his value at the moment. I think Ladd will get more involved, and I do think so. He already has
Justin Jefferson, Jason, Jacoby. Well, those are 3 awesome wide receivers. So yeah, you have to do that trade just to get Jordan Mason because you want to start these 3. You can flex Pittman.
Then maybe I'd even see
14
team league. Maybe even if you can get a better, like, I don't know if they have another running back you could go for that you trust. That's not that like is a safer running back who's not like Aaron Jones is, I think, going to come back and still have a role on that team. I think Jordan Mason's going to be better than him throughout the year. But if you could maybe potentially just take out that wide receiver and then go with just a better running back, I don't think that's a terrible offer, especially given the receivers you have.
Yeah, I just absolutely love getting Jordan Mason. I hate getting Jordan Mason a week late because everyone knew he's going to blow up for Cincy, but that's the game. What was I going to say? What about the Chargers? So the thing about the Chargers is I think they are a really good team. I think their defense is elite and they want to run the ball. I worry that maybe if the schedule eases up and they get ahead, like Herbert's not going to be throwing it for 300 yards every game. So now if you got 3 wide receivers and then the Herbert's usage is going down because they're just pounding Hampton, that could be a worry. Plus, Hampton was also catching a lot of balls. So Ladd's a guy I wouldn't mind selling low on. We were talking about that before, but it is kind of shitty. But if you're getting, you're selling low in Ladd, buying high in Pittman and high, Jordan Mason. So, that's not ideal. Okay, we got Silly Goose. Sorry, did you have anything else, Brian?
Well, no, he did mention he had Chuba. He could have gotten Chuba for Ladd. I almost think I like Mason a little bit more than I could be wrong in that. Mason, I don't know if it changes it that much between Chuba and Mason. So I would, if he has a better running back, maybe try to get a little more. If not, I don't hate doing the trade, but
Chuba's getting 64% of his fantasy points from the passing game. Does that make you like him more or hate him? Because it sounded like he was more running the ball last year. And just their O-line got banged up, so maybe they're not keeping the holes open.
Just the fact that Rico's there now. I don't love Rico. I'm not saying Rico's a start. It just last year he was like the only running back worthy of being on a professional roster, in my opinion. Now they have options, so they don't have to run him to the ground.
Yeah, but they said they want to. Yeah, he's playing 60. He's getting 64% of the snaps, so he's only getting 3 targets a game. So somehow there's something's not equalizing there. So
yeah.
But I got Hubbard a lot of places, and he's kind of frustrating so far.
Yeah, you missed the 3-0 one.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Silly Goose. I'm 3-0, full PPR 10-man. Okay, should I trade A.J. Brown, T.J. Hawkinson, Chuba Hubbard for Jamar Chase and Tony Pollard? So first rule 10-man is you have to get the best player in the trade. So that is Jamar Chase, but are you T.J. Hawkinson's not really doing much?
Yeah, he's a nothing for me.
So are you doing this just to get Chase? But A.J. Brown versus Chase, like it's both one team's going to throw without a QB, one team should throw with a good QB. And Pollard's playing a lot. I don't know. What are you doing here? So you're 3-0. So you really want to put your foot on somebody's throat. I don't think this is a trade, but you should. There is a trade. You should be fine.
I would do this trade, but I do think you might be able to get more with this trade. Like, I think Jamar is the best player. I think I like Tony Pollard more than Juba, but TJ Hawkinson to me is literally a nothing. I don't think he's even that worthy of being on rosters at the moment, but he just hasn't really looked good this season.
So if you're 3-0, when you want to make this a big trade, should you go get CD Lamb? Like if it's 10-man, probably what make the playoffs. If 4 do, maybe not. But like 3-0, like find the guy with Lamb, right? And then you could do it down. Would you do AJ Brown and Chubb? And well, Hawkins is nothing. Would you do AJ Brown and Chubb for Lamb?
I would see if I could get you get 3 weeks with AJ Brown versus 0 of CD. So I'm gonna see if the CD person will give you an upgrade at running back for you do AJ Brown and Chuba for CD and an upgrade at running back.
So what? Like, would you like a Quinshon Judkins, Jordan Mason, Trey Benson?
Yeah, I mean, I would love Trey Benson. It just depends who that guy has, but
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Trey Benson. I want somebody who I know is going to have a locked-in role, and there's just not much competition on that team at this point.
Okay. So we got so it's redraft. So this is his team. He's got Josh Allen, Bijan Chuba, Aaron Jones. Oh, he's got Jordan Mason already. Algier, AJ Brown, Higgins, Jameson, Debo, Cup, Kirk. So you're a little thin at wide receiver because if you
I don't know if I want to be all in on that Bengals team.
I would try and find another trade like Chase and Higgins. I mean, unless Burrow miraculously could come back because Browning's he's just not that good. Higgins. I think Higgins might be a drop in a couple weeks. It was just crazy.
I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, I definitely don't want to be with Higgins on your roster. I wouldn't make this trade just because I don't want to be all in on that Bengals. I like having a piece of it, having Higgins or Chase. I don't want to be all in on it.
I'm not going to be starting Higgins next week, so we're going to just go a few more minutes. Remember, all episodes aren't available on Twitter, so you got to come over to YouTube. We always do the jump. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment, tell us you like Brian's dog, whatever. So we're gonna go a couple more minutes. Brian, anything you want to hit? Anything maybe from your model of the week that stood out? Anything you've been right on, wrong on?
I mean, maybe it's just me, but I do feel like 2 QB leagues have been getting more and more popular. So one guy I have in a bunch of my leagues that people for some reason want, and I'm just like, by all means take, is Matthew Stafford. So He's a guy that I'm trying to kind of sell in a bunch of leagues just because with all the injuries at QB, someone looks at someone like Stafford and says, oh, wow, that's safe points. But Stafford, he never runs the ball. You're hoping for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, which more likely he's going to get 225 to 250, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And it's just for fantasy, that's not going to blow you away. But given the current quarterback landscape, people for some reason have been sending me offers and really wanting him. So I'm trying to think of other QBs that you might be able to kind of take advantage of, try to buy now, sell somebody who's super safe for some upside moving forward at the QB position.
So funny thing with Stafford, he's getting -2% of his fantasy points from running.
Yeah.
So 102. So I guess from kneeling or taking sacks, I don't know. But so Trevor Lawrence is interesting. I bid $18 on him in the Superflex League because QBs were low and I didn't have one and I panicked. But he's getting the highest percentage of drops, right? Brian Thompson Jr.'s drop. They just keep dropping the balls. It's not really his fault. They also been running the ball, and the defense looks kind of good. But is that somebody you might invest in because Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be better? So that's just his offense leveling up. Plus, Parker Washington looks good. Brenton Strange looks good. Dynamic Brown was good, but he's hurt. But obviously, Travis Hunter is kind of a bust so far.
I mean, you can roast me for this trade by all means. I just recently traded Xavier Legette and Stafford for JJ McCarthy and Matthew Golden.
Okay. I like getting Golden, but
I mean, I think if McCarthy starts, I do think he's just has a higher upside than Stafford. He'll run it a little bit more.
He's got
it's not pretty, but he has Justin Jefferson, and I like that offense and coaching more. I mean, maybe not more. you know what you're getting with Stafford. I think there's upside to be had with McCarthy. And I don't think it sounds bad, but like I don't think starting Spencer Rattler, who's on my bench, compared to Stafford, is like that much of a downgrade. So
No.
I'm getting a major upgrade at receiver, and for someone who I would have just dropped if he weren't on my IR because he was a healthy scratch. But
Yeah, I think people, because Devontae looks so good and Puka's amazing, so you're looking, they got 2 elite wide receivers, and so Stafford's propping them up. But he's just been a weird. He hasn't thrown a lot of touchdowns, and they like to run it when they're inside the 5 too. Plus, he's a 1 hit away from getting hurt. The only thing I worry about McCarthy is if that Minnesota defense is real, and they're going to be up, blowing teams out or putting the pressure on. They're going to be running the ball more, and they're not really going to need to throw it. Especially if McCarthy's not throwing the ball well either. So
yeah, no,
that's my only. But
I get that.
Anton Montez says, what receivers would match Pollard's value? I have Hampton, Mason, Kamara, JCM, Sharps, and need wide receiver help. Jesus, some good wide receivers. Anytime I see Jordan Mason, I'm like, oh my God, look at those running backs. Sorry, the good running backs, not wide receivers. I've got Lamb, Drake London, Shakir, Coleman, Butte, Godwin. Okay, well, you were great in before week 1. Now I feel you. Pollard's value. That's a good one. So anyone jumps to mind? Let's say if you're Tampa, could you get a Buka for Pollard?
I like that. I just sometimes feel like some teams are going to be a little too high on the teams who have Buka might be a little too high on him.
Okay.
I think that's a good guy to go after. I was thinking kind of on a similar realm of like who's an upside receiver that might be able to get better as the season goes on.
With Lamb out, he needs immediate production, right? He's got hope maybe he can play Godwin, but it's like who's helping him? Like what about on the Chargers, right? You're probably not getting Ladd. Would you do Quentin Johnson or Keenan Allen?
I mean, you could send something for Ladd, maybe do like Pollard and a Shakir or something. Like you could potentially try a 2-for-1, Pollard, Booty, something like that. Like I like the idea of doing Pollard, Shakir for a Ladd type because you already have Coleman. So I don't know if I want to start 2 Bills receivers. So
No.
that's something maybe you package and try to kind of go big game hunting. Otherwise, maybe a Tet or a Ekbuka are the guys that I kind of like that people might be willing to give up. I mean, when I do this, I try to, again, like who needs a running back? So I'm going to search out a team that has a bunch of receivers and I'm going to try to get like the 3rd best one. And that's who I'm going to try to trade Pollard for is who needs a running back and has a bunch of receivers. That's the guy you go to and just try to get the best receiver you can out of them.
Okay. We got to wrap up here. What's the Thursday nighter? Do you know? Because we got Brian and Jason on Thursday. Sorry, Tuesday. I'm still recovering. Seattle, Arizona. That's a sneaky kind of fun game. I don't mind it.
So Marvin Harrison going to play well ever?
No. Boy, he had that draw. Yeah, I don't know. So just come back Thursday. It'll be me, Brian, and hopefully Jason. Brian's model will be out, so we'll be doing some Thursday night preview. That'll be fun. We'll preview the week ahead too. We'll do some props. We'll see if there's any big waiver wire moves, and we'll talk about because all the injuries. There's some crazy injuries, right? We lost Lamb. We lost James Conner. Terry McLaurin got hurt. Anyone else jumps off to you quickly?
Evans, did we say Mike Evans?
And Mike Evans. There we go. Okay, one last question. I have Mason, Kamara, Pollard, John, Jesus. I love that. Oh, Brian, you must love this too. Benson. Oh my God. Start 4 bench too. Who should I start? Crap. We don't have. I mean, I think you have to play.
I'm going Mason Benson for sure. Probably Kamara for the safety, and then
4. Okay, bench.
I think Hubbard I'm keeping on the bench, and then it's between Pollard and Judkins.
Yeah, we honestly, if you come back Thursday, we can go in because I don't know if I'd bench Pollard against the Pats because that defense is terrible.
Yeah, I think I'd bench Judkins, Hubbard.
Yeah, playing Detroit. Detroit's if they held Derrick Henry, like on 50 or 100 yards, what are they going to do to Judkins? Okay, all right. Thanks. That's it for us. Later, Brian. Later, Brian's dog. We'll catch you Thursday. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.